I'm half Japanese and half Filipino,
Mm-hmm.
fifth generation Japanese and first generation Filipino.
Filipino. What
Yeah.
was that like growing up in that household? Like how did those cultures meet?
So my parents met in San Diego at Cal Western Law School.
Okay.
They went to law school together and they studied abroad, even in London, which was really cool to hear them talk about. And then they got married
Hmm.
back in San Diego and went back to Hawaii to live.
Yeah.
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 Um, growing up in Hawaii with them as my parents was really innovating
Hmm.
because I think they were both, they got their groove on in law,
Mm-hmm.
like the corporate way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say corporate, but they worked for the city and the state.
Okay.
My mom was the lawyer for the mayor, and then my dad worked for the attorney general's office for the state. And growing up, I was at the preschool right in between their offices. Um, Very innovative.
Hmm.
After my mom left there, she started her own law firm, and my dad started a golf shop.
Oh wow.
Hmm.
Wait, so was he still practicing law or he just completely left and he wanted to do this entrepreneurial pursuit?
So my dad is an interesting character. He's a jokester
Mm-hmm.
that is really uses his mind well. Like
Yeah.
he majored in English, and he's a eloquent speaker. Yeah, he knows how to use his words.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he growing up with him and seeing him do what he loved, it wasn't at first a golf shop.
Okay.
It is called Roots and Relics.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Roots and relics.
Roots and Relics in Honolulu, Hawaii, downtown Honolulu.
And like what would he have in the shop?
He carried all the things he loved. Yeah. I think in London, my parents learned a lot about antiques and collectibles
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
I know they brought a ton of things back.
Yeah.
And he sold golf clubs, fishing reels, fishing rods, old books,
Mm-hmm.
uh, golf bags, anything to do with golf and fishing, a lot of Hawaiiana,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you name it.
He was
If it was
selling it.
interesting, jewelry, ukuleles.
Your dad was selling.
He was like a hip pawn shop, I guess, almost, but
That's a
yeah,
fun description.
a lot of koa furniture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you remember did you spend time there as a kid?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes, definitely. I thought it was so I was like, what is this? And oh, there's a lot of orchids. He would keep the orchids on the outside, so it's like welcoming. And then I would spend afternoons there when I was younger. And then when I could start working, I would be a racker.
What's a racker?
I would organize all the golf clubs so they're like nicely presented.
Yeah.
He like invented this rack. So uh pitching wedge through a 9 iron would look presentable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
It was
my
so dope.
goodness. It must have been just so fun to be in this space that it's your family's business and then you're working there. I assume you're working high school. You're spending some time working there. What age were you? Do you remember?
Definitely high school
Yeah.
and then yeah, in high school. And then my friends wanted a job, so we would rack together
Yeah.
after summer
Wow.
school or something.
Yeah. What'd you think about it? And dealing with people, because I'm sure all sorts of people would come through those doors.
Mhm.
How was that?
It was like a candy shop for all the lawyers and
Hmm.
accountants in downtown
Mm-hmm.
Honolulu. So it was cool. I enjoyed seeing people come in and people telling me about their perspective of my dad. They were like, "Oh, yeah, your dad remembers everything everything, just about every single golf club. Like, he keeps it all here. He doesn't have, like, a book.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, yeah. That's crazy."
You're over here learning new things.
Yeah. I mean, golf today is really an interesting, uh, sport,
Mhm.
and it's come a long way,
Yeah.
and that's evolving, like, seeing, the Melbourne Golf and Golf Gods and, all the golf memes on
Mhm.
Instagram, but, yeah, golf today is
Vastly
very
different.
cool to
Yes,
see.
super cool space.
Mhm,
Thinking about the shop and some of the folk that were coming in the shop,
mhm.
did you ever have thoughts about, like did that ever influence, like, your career direction? Like, at that age, like, you're high school, you're probably thinking about school afterwards, or, like, did your parents, uh, like, "Tiffany, you gotta go to college?" Like, what were some of those conversations like in your household?
I think my family really wanted me to just get an education. That
Hmm.
was really important to my family, and I think even education today, I feel definitely evolved. It's not
Yeah.
only about education. Everyone, you know, I think it's more about the experiences, to
Mhm.
be honest. And education is a huge helper to have people experience not, what you would normally experience on a
Yeah.
day to day. So I'm grateful that my grandma and grandpa also, my
Mm.
grandma was a teacher
Mhm.
and my grandfather was a dentist.
Mm.
I thought I was going to be a
You
dentist.
thought you were gonna be a dentist?
Yes.
Huh.
I would also sit in my grandfather's office and, like, I can't believe he let me do this. Use this torch and, like,
Oh my god.
I was just I think I was like 8 using a torch and melting wax and, like,
Oh my
putting
god.
fake teeth together.
Yo, that's hilarious.
I still have that thing. It's like all a big waxy mouth.
Oh my goodness.
It's really funny.
Yeah. So did you end up going to school to be a dentist?
No,
No.
definitely not. I My grandfather was really happy when I said I wanted to be a dentist, and then really sad when I it was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't think that was for me." But I do appreciate dentistry and the
Mhm.
art of it,
Mhm.
but, looking into people's mouths all day wasn't the thing I wanted to do for the rest of my life, I
Yeah.
knew, yeah.
So what direction did you decide to go in?
Mm. I'm definitely a wave rider.
Mhm.
Like, I kinda go with the flow and
Mhm.
vibe things out and follow what my heart and mind tell me
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
So, I think I knew after college I went to college at University of San Francisco,
Okay.
learned a lot there about cannabis as
Mhm.
well,
Mhm.
and then I actually studied, design there at,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was really awesome because they had a joint degree program, which they don't have today, with University of San Francisco and CCA.
Mm.
It was called California College of Arts and Crafts,
Mhm.
but I think they
They
dropped the
dropped the C
crafts.
the crafts part?
They rebranded and now it's CCA, and, amazing experience.
Mm.
Studied fashion and graphic design there.
Wow. And so you wanted to be a designer then? Or, like,
I
maybe
knew
have
I
your
liked
own
it.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be fashion
Hmm.
for sure, but, when I moved home, I was like, "What am I doing?" The only job I could kinda get in fashion in Hawaii is, maybe fashion for Neiman Marcus, but
Mm.
even that, I would have to go back to Texas to study it
To Texas?
because I think they have, their corporate headquarters
Mm.
in Texas
Mhm.
and, like, learn
More
there.
details into the
Mhm.
process, right. Hmm.
So, I was like, "No," and then my dad was like, "Okay, why don't you just try out selling some things on eBay, um, before you decide anything?" And so every summer I was already that kinda working at Roots and Relics
Mhm.
morphed into selling things on eBay. I
Yeah.
went from racking to, "Oh, why don't
Why
you
you
put
sell
that on
this? Yeah.
eBay?" So, yeah, eBay back then was a beast
Yeah.
uploading photos and going through the process of getting things up. And I did that for 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
WeSellThingsForYou.com. I turned it into a
Turn it
business.
into a business.
Yes.
And, like, how are you you must have been doing well with this business if you created, like, a website and things started to grow, yeah.
We definitely had our groove on and created a cool process.
Mhm.
Um, we had stations like checking in people and
Hmm.
evaluating their item and their worth,
Mhm.
and then taking it back, doing more research and history, seeing the price points, what we can sell it for,
Yeah.
and then photography station, and then listing station, and then packing station and shipping station.
It
Mm-hmm.
was a whole organization.
Yes.
Wow. And
Yes.
so you said you'd done this for, like, 6 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then what happened? Like, what was the to the point where you decided, it's trying time to do something different?"
Um, the process I recognized as technology was changing. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know about staying around uh, all this stuff for a really long time." Because my parents, they like to collect
Mhm.
things. I turned out opposite. I was
Yeah.
like minimalism and like just keep what I use
Yeah.
if I can.
Yeah.
And so I realized I was like day to day. I was like, oh my gosh, coming to work and doing this and sometimes having to teach people about the
Mm.
internet, it turned
Mhm.
into so many different things. I was like, I don't think this is for me.
Yeah,
But
you're like, "I didn't sign up for this."
this experience has been so cool
Mm.
because it taught me so much. I learned the worth of so many different kinds of things.
Yeah.
Like, you name it, I can probably give a pretty good estimate of how much something's worth. I sold everything from breast pumps
Hmm.
to other money. I sold a penny for like $8,000
Yeah.
once.
Wow.
I sold cars,
Yeah.
motorcycles,
Oh my
all
goodness.
virtually.
All
Yeah.
virtual
Hmm.
motorcycles and
Motorcycles,
cars.
a Harley and Range Rovers.
That
Yeah.
is insane.
Hmm.
Wow. So you get all this, you got new expertise with this, right? Like, you know how to, you're running a business. And so you're managing people, you're,
Hmm.
doing all these different things. And then at some point, you also decide to open a sneaker shop like Queens, like
Yes.
in,
So, yes,
yeah.
it was the transition there was, I think, just, everyone that came to We Sell Things for You was a collector of some
Of some
sort.
sort, right.
So they would be selling their things, and we would get a lot of those streetwear guys too coming in. And I remember BBC was a big thing back then.
Yeah. What time was this? Like 2000, 2004, 2005? Was it around
About
that? Okay.
about, yeah,
Okay.
early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was like 2000 to 2006-ish.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And then Queens, a store with, the shoes in the back and, the streetwear in the front. That's when SBs were really popular, and my
Yeah.
friend, he made a killing off of SB sneaker laces. He was getting them all like, every single hue
Mhm.
you could imagine manufactured, and, he was crushing it. John B.
John
Yeah,
B,
John B.
not the
from
singer.
I miss that John B. too, but, yeah, he created a amazing business off of, sneaker SB sneakers. Yeah,
Wow.
laces, and, crushed it. He was
Wow.
from USF too.
Huh. And so you have this shop. And so,
Mhm.
like, how do you, like, even start a shop at that time? Like, how'd that come to be?
So from the eBay business, I learned about so many different products, and we were actually also invited to a lot of the eBay conventions.
Mm,
We were top 100 or top 200 sellers in the world, and then we would go to this
wow.
conference,
Yeah.
and meet all these people. And I remember I went to an event and Elon Musk was speaking.
Really?
Yes. I know. I was shocked. At that time,
Well, I guess
had
so,
no
cause
idea.
he had maybe like
PayPal.
PayPal. Okay, okay.
He had PayPal, and I didn't know he was going to invent all these other things. But I mean, we could have even talked. I don't really remember, but I do remember being deep in the PayPal game,
Mhm.
so deep that even the local banks called me to ask me about internet payments.
Yeah.
But it sorry, I'm going off on a
Oh, yeah, yeah,
tangent
yeah,
here.
you're fine.
But in regards to all the different things that came together,
Mhm.
I'm so
Oh, you can
sorry.
fine, you can take it out.
My hair is
If
wild.
you got one in there, you should be fine. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you're fine.
Okay, there we go. um, I think the virtual world and then having things in person was intriguing to me, and
Mhm.
that's why the store happened.
Yeah.
So having it online on eBay was really cool, but also having the store where you could just see it in
Mhm.
person, there's like nothing like that. And I
Yeah.
was really intrigued with keywords on eBay, and one of them was DIY.
Mhm.
And back then, there was kind of a gray area, I think, between streetwear and these DIY girls on
Hmm.
eBay.
Mhm.
Yeah. They were so cool. They would have like this out of this world cut and sew stuff.
Hmm.
So that's how Queens came to life. It was a mixture of retail,
Mhm.
in-person retail, and these people we met on in
Oh,
digital
yeah,
world.
right,
Yeah.
on eBay, and you would just
Mhm.
bring in their product.
Mhm.
And then how did you and you said you would also get SB in there as well?
We had a Nike account
Wow.
actually, and we had Nikes, Keep shoes. We had a lo all this denim. It was really cool, the denim. Like, I studied all the different thicknesses, and I was
Mhm.
like and the whiskers and the it was really cool to learn about that, and we had 10s from the
Yeah.
hundreds. We had that was when Misbehave was
Yes.
around.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's a lot of, like, really dope brands, like, you're bringing me down memory lane right now.
Keep was really cool, all organic,
Mhm,
right? And
mhm.
then they had, gosh, so many Misbehave. Oh, we even did a collaboration with remember Nails did. Uh,
Hmm.
so you remember Top 10
Yeah,
on MySpace?
yeah.
I wonder where this guy is till this day, but I randomly met this guy who created nagel art,
Hmm.
and he made these shirts. His tag name was Frames
Yeah.
in out of the UK, and, we made each other our top 10 on on MySpace, but I represented his brand here in the United States,
Mhm.
and we built that trust through the internet, and I started producing Nails did shirts, and we did a Kid Sister collaboration. You remember
Wow.
that song with
Oh, yeah,
Kanye
yeah,
and
yeah.
Kid
I
Sister?
remember Kid Sister.
With Misbehave.
Huh.
Yeah.
Out of your shop.
I forgot about that too.
That's
It was so
crazy.
cool. But, I wish Misbehave would come back.
Yeah.
I would definitely
I
pick
mean,
it
you just
up.
manifested that. It might be making a comeback.
Please do. I wanna those covers were so cool.
Yeah. So you have, at this point, you've basically transitioned into a career as, a businesswoman, but is that kind of the path that you stayed on, or did you kind of, you talk about riding waves a bit, and so like, did you ever go into like maybe a more corporate side at any point? Like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
So, the We Saw Things for You turned into, um, Queens.
hmm
Then Queens got a coffee machine. The
what?
coffee machine turned into Fresh Cafe, and Fresh Cafe helped a lot of other businesses blossom.
hmm
We had a backspace. Arden Flea was created back there. We had the biggest slam poetry event hosted by Kealoha. That was great vibes, amazing poetry. Pow Wow Hawaii was created, and now they're Pow Wow Worldwide. So, yeah, that space was really
That
special.
space was really, really special. So, powwow is I don't wanna, like, brush over that. It's a big deal, right? It's a huge festival,
Mhm.
that got started, and you were integral in a part of that. Like, tell me a little bit about, like, what was kinda like the origin of, like, powwow and, like, and what were some of the different cultures that you were bringing together?
Yeah, so Pow Wow started from, Jasper Wong. Jasper and I had mutual friends. This girl, she's amazing. She's not with us today,
Mm,
unfortunately, but her name is Krista Whitmire, and she was really the core of everything and
hmm,
brought us together. And we were the founding members that brought together, I believe it was about 5 to 10 local artists. And then Jasper maxed out his credit cards and then brought some international artists to collaborate.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, and then that
Mhm.
was the first.
It was the first ever powwow America in
Okay,
America. I
okay.
believe he had one in Hong Kong,
Mhm,
but I don't believe it was murals. It was
mm,
just he had an art gallery in Hong Kong.
yeah.
And that's where Krista went. And she was like, oh my God, you got to meet this guy, Jasper. And we did. And the rest was history. And powwow is amazing what they're doing
Yeah.
today.
And so
Yeah.
how did in that part, like, how did you become involved in that festival?
So because of Fresh Cafe, we had this big backspace to work with. And at that time, I had some of my woodworker friends. They were so handy. They created like these moving walls.
Wow.
And yeah, Bretta and Lyle. And uh, Jasper, I think, was undecided with another friend named Yue Wu. You
Mm,
remember Yue?
mm-mm.
He was actually one of the first people, one of the writers is pre Hypebeast when Hypebeast, it was Hypebeast when Hypebeast had bloggers.
Yeah.
And he was Yue Wu from Paris.
Hmm.
And he actually did all the work, the Kid Cudi video,
Wow.
the cartoon one, the day and night.
Day
Yeah.
and night? He did
Hmm.
day and night. Wow, okay.
So he's still doing some amazing things in Paris with shoes and stuff. But he created the logo, and him and Jasper were looking to launch. And I was like, use Fresh Cafe.
Yeah.
They were looking at this other space in Kaimaki, I believe, and then they decided to use Fresh, and yeah, it really blossomed. And Krista, myself, Jasper, Junjo from
Mhm.
Information, Sunny Ganadin, who was studying law and the
Mm.
arts, um, and I believe that was it. We were the first core members of Powwow Hawaii.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then, how big did this festival get? Like, how many people were coming from all over the world?
Gosh, today I know they're doing a lot. I'm not a part of it
Yeah,
anymore, but
yeah.
I definitely support what they're doing.
Mhm.
Um, the last year that I attended one, there was just hundreds of
Jeez,
people, and it was
jeez.
so beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's 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 incredible when you're able to create those different, opportunities for people to come together, especially like-minded, and you can appreciate arts and appreciate those
Mhm.
things. I think with you, you like to bring community together. You like, those types of opportunities and projects where you get a chance to do that. As we think about kinda where life's taken you as of late, I have to ask you about kinda this foodie conversation. Would you describe yourself as a foodie? Like, do you like food in that way? Like.
I love food. I wouldn't say I'm a foodie, but I'm definitely a lover of all things culture.
Mhm.
And I definitely appreciate food and music and traditions.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was definitely, I didn't know I was going to move to LA. And
What was like what, I guess what prompted that?
We had this opportunity to open up a really big restaurant,
Hmm.
like 300 seaters, and
Sheesh.
thank God that didn't happen. But another opportunity came, and they actually really wanted us in the space. So we were like, oh, okay, this seems really easy.
Mhm.
And that's where Petit Peso is today
Okay.
on 7th and Hill in downtown Los Angeles.
Right. And so Petit Peso is a Filipino cuisine, right?
Filipino cuisine, definitely. And I want to be careful when I say that because everyone has their own interpretation
Ah.
of and recipe,
Mhm.
but it's our version of Filipino food and uh, through our families.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In your eyes, what makes this restaurant so special?
definitely. It's so crazy. So I'm gonna back it up a little
Okay.
bit
Okay. Okay.
because not knowing that I was gonna move to LA and someone DM'd me on LinkedIn, of all things,
Mhm.
and because I had helped with Pow Wow, and he had also experience with another art festival, he was asking me to help him market his latest,
Yeah.
and, I noticed he was in Beverly Hills, though, and he had no idea. I didn't have LA on
Yeah,
my
you
LinkedIn
didn't
yet.
yeah, where you were at,
So,
right.
I met up with him at Destroyer in, LA, which
Mhm.
is a great cafe, by the way. And he, I was looking for random jobs for
Mhm.
marketing, and he was helping me, and I was helping him. And I was like, hey, so do you know anybody that might, need my help or want to partner with me on a project? And out of the 10 things, Ria Dolly Barboza, Chef Ria Dolly, was on that list.
Hmm.
And thank God, because she is incredible and she
Mm.
is like the real secret sauce.
Mm.
Because, yeah, it's not only what she cooks and her feelings and her knowledge and her presence, but um, just everything combined.
Yeah.
Her as like the face and the kitchen part, Robert
Mhm.
Villanueva as the operations, and myself as just the digital capturing and storytelling of
Mhm.
Petit Peso, uh, is a great recipe to
Mm.
hopefully good vibes. Hopefully, we'll be able to have an event.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
been wanting to do that for so long, but right now people can try the food
Mhm.
and taste the experiences through that.
Through that, right?
Hmm.
And this was a venture that was that started, like, as the pandemic had began, or was it started a little bit before? Like, what was this time period?
So after the really big restaurant falling through, and we were all really bummed.
And this was the same
This was
crew?
the same crew. Yes, it was the same crew. We were bummed that the big venture didn't take off. And then this small little, it's like a third generation Filipino restaurant,
Mm.
um, opportunity came up. We were like, do we take it? And we did. And I'm so sorry, I forgot the question.
No, yeah, no, the question was, when you were thinking about, like, opening up this restaurant, did that happen prior to COVID? Like,
Oh,
was that a
so yes, we signed the lease two 2 months before COVID dropped.
wow,
Yeah, in downtown LA.
wow,
Yeah. So all that PPP funding, you had to have records of how much you made.
wow,
So that was
prior,
definitely everything we couldn't apply for.
wow.
Yeah.
And so, initially, you probably thought you were gonna have, like, walk-up service and a couple table service, and so that kinda probably went out of the window. So what was the how did you evolve?
First, we were planning for breakfast,
Mm.
and then we evolved to okay, if this pandemic is really going down for more than 2 weeks, And that's what I did. I told people at the office, "Oh, maybe 2 weeks I'll see you."
Yeah.
But yeah, now 2 years later, yeah, we transferred from breakfast to dinner to closed, back to opening, and then dinner, and then back to breakfast,
Hmm.
and then realized that breakfast is good, but dinner is where it's at.
Where it's at. Yeah.
So and we have nothing to compare it to, when COVID wasn't around, so we're like, "Hmm, we just gotta create our own normal right
Right.
now."
Right.
Yeah.
And with things kind of the way they are now, folks are ordering online and
Mhm.
coming to pick up, right? And that's how they're enjoying the business. When you think about kind of how y'all see that growing, do you see like other locations in the future? Like, what do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm definitely in like, I love that we have this small place, and it really tested our group, our team to see
Hmm.
how we handle situations. I mean, I think we were really tested. They tested us hard. So, I'm did really well, and we're still pulling through it, but yes, absolutely, we foresee, a couple different things popping up, hopefully a festival,
Mm.
hopefully, a ponderia, like a
Yeah.
bakery with a
Bakery.
coffee
Wow. Yeah.
place, maybe definitely a bar,
Hmm.
so and a full-blown restaurant, maybe with 300 seats. Maybe. We
I
like
mean,
the
yeah, it's
intimate.
still,
Yeah.
a vision that's there and that's important to have, right? Because you can always continue to grow into that vision and it's always gonna shift a little bit. But I think the one thing that's also interesting is like, you're multifaceted. That's not the only thing that you're doing at the moment. You also work in cannabis, right? And
Yes.
so like how did this cannabis side come along?
So, when I unknowingly moved to LA and had the opportunity to open this really large restaurant that didn't happen yet, I was like, "Okay, I need to get a job
Hmm.
to sustain me staying here while we possibly make this restaurant happen."
Right.
And, I looked I went on Craigslist, LinkedIn, and I searched the proximity
Hmm.
of where I lived, and I was like, "Okay, I have to do it without a car for now, because I don't know if this restaurant really is gonna happen yet." And, I found a position to work with celebrities in the cannabis industry,
Hmm.
and it has blown my mind because I not only learned about cannabis, but, social media
Mm.
and content creation
Mm.
and Facebook and Instagram and
Mhm.
everything behind the scenes,
Mhm.
and it's been, oh my gosh, such a journey.
Yeah.
Um, I've worked with, Cheech and Chong, Chanel West Coast,
Come on.
a lot of MMA fighters.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's been such a blessing, and
Yeah.
it's a really special, yeah, really special people I work with, and oh my gosh.
My goodness, and so you get to explore on the marketing side
Mhm.
and really dabbling into that. What is the biggest thing you notice about, like, cannabis and the business? Like, it's just exploding, essentially.
Exploding. One of the most special things is to be in LA right now during this cannabis explosion is such a blessing and unique time because you can be a part of the change and watch it and experience it.
Yeah.
And we work with dispensaries and products and learning about CBD and THC and
Mhm.
Delta 8 is the
Mhm.
newest craze, and learning about the black market and the regular market
Yeah.
and all the laws in between it. And from the seed,
Mm.
literally,
Mm.
from genetics
Mhm.
is a huge thing to seed to sale, like
Yeah.
everything in between. And there's so many things that you wouldn't think.
Oh my
And
god.
around the world.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow.
From Spain to Africa to Europe, um, everywhere has, is in the
Something.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something's happening
And
there.
LA is really a great model and setting an example for the rest of the world, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think it's it's also interesting to see how like it's shifted in society, right? Like it's gone from
Hmm.
this thing that's been considered, this really bad thing and frowned upon thing,
Hmm.
in different places to now, different applications of cannabis and different products that are being made from it. And it isn't just something you consume through smoking. Like there's a number of different things that happens with this and treatments for like for medical reasons, right?
100%.
I think
It
it's crazy.
definitely does more good than bad, I think.
Hmm.
And it's a healing, it's medicine. And I would say the majority of people like use it the right way.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful. Yeah. It's natural. I
It's
can't
natural.
I can't believe that something natural is illegal, you
Yeah.
know?
No, yeah.
So
Right. I mean, it's a wild thing, but that's a whole
yeah, I could go.
another
Yeah.
conversation. I wanted to ask you, like, if you
Mhm.
as you think about your career, right,
Mhm.
thus far, and it's continued to grow, and you continue
Mhm.
to do things. You balance like being in a corporate world, but also balance being an entrepreneur and have been a business owner. Your folks have been business owners, but I think also like you very much center in kind of these creative spaces. Um, what advice would you have for young people that are going on this journey and um, trying to figure out what they want to do and what they want to be?
Hmm. A couple things. Right. I think as social media today, that being part of the industry I am, if people look at social media in the way of documentation
Mm,
and keeping a journal
hmm,
and storytelling, I think that it's a really beautiful thing. And if you don't use social media, I hope you are at least taking notes about the things that happen to you throughout the years
mm.
because who you are 20 years ago, years ago, or last month could be totally different from
Totally.
who you are right now.
Yeah.
Like what you want is probably not going to be what you want next week.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's very true.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, it is a beautiful thing when you can look back on whatever documentation style you'd like to choose and reflect on that and
Hmm.
what worked for you and what didn't work for you and really enhance the good things.